Hey everybody, it is Monday, September 15th, 2025, and here is the latest real estate news. The big news is that the Fed is meeting this week and we expect them to lower interest rates by 25 basis points. That means 1/4% drop. So that is the expected. There is some discussion that the Fed should lower rates by 50 basis points, which would be a 0.5% cut, but I don't think there's enough energy behind that one. And because of the inflation numbers last week, I just don't think we're going to see that happen. So expect a 25% basis point cut. Well, mortgage lenders have already factored in this rate cut over the last 2 weeks. As I've told you in previous videos, the mortgage rates are at their lowest a couple of weeks before the actual rate cut with the Fed takes place. And so we've already seen a national average over the weekend of 6.29% on a 30-year fixed, and we're seeing somewhere between 5.5% and 5.6% for the 15-year rate. I would not expect those to budge this week unless there is a 50 basis point adjustment. And if that happens, it's going to be crazy because that's going to bring more buyers into the market and it could potentially drive up housing prices as people jump into the market and enter into bidding wars and multiple offer situations. The lower interest rates are offering some buyers a chance to re-enter the market. There's a lot of folks that were out there in 2022, 2023, and 2024 that said, I'm going to wait for rates to go down. Well, rates are finally going down. Now, I know some of you are out there going, well, they're not below 4%. You're right. They're not. And they're not going to be. So if you're waiting for a sub 4% market, get really comfortable sitting where you are because I don't think that's going to happen for a long time. But what we're seeing right now is that the opportunities for buyers that are out there are really good. In most markets right now, inventory is above pre-pandemic levels. And that is giving buyers more choices. There's a lot more competition. We're seeing 3.5 to 5 months of inventory based on absorption studies. So that's something that we're seeing more and more these days. So it may be a good opportunity if you're a buyer to get into the market and buy a home right now. It was a little over a year ago that the National Association of Realtors, also known as NAR, settled the Seitzer-Burnett case. There were a lot of people that were upset with the National Association of Realtors for settling that case, but that's over a year ago now. Let's move forward. Here's the information that's interesting to me. The average real estate agent's commission, the compensation, has gone up from 2.38% a year ago to 2.43% this year. That means that there's a couple of possibilities going on. Number one, agents have gotten really good over the last year of explaining the value of what a buyer's agent brings to the table and how offering a buyer's agent compensation can especially help a first-time home buyer to get into the house. The other possibility is that agents are just refusing to work with people that are not willing to pay them a compensation. That is a buyer's agent's right. They don't have to work for what you offer them. So that is something to consider when you're buying a house. Remember, if you are a buyer's agent, in most states, the ability of the buyer to purchase the home is a material fact. So listing agents, don't get frustrated when buyer's agents call you asking you what that payout is. Part of what they're doing is making sure that the buyer can actually afford the home. In local Raleigh-Durham real estate news, inventory jumped by 1.4% in the last week from Monday to Monday. We are again over that 11,000 listing threshold. We're almost 11,125 active listings. Even with that, there's still only about a 3.27 month supply based on absorption study because we're selling about 3,300 to 3,400 homes a month here in the Triangle market. That's pretty evenly balanced between new construction and resales. So if you are a seller in a resale home, you need to make sure that you're pricing your home competitively in today's market in order to get seen. If you've been on a price for a while and you haven't seen showings, you probably need to make a price adjustment at this point. One of the interesting phenomena that we're seeing right now is that there are some sellers that are just choosing to delist their home. Now, what that means is that they're either letting the property expire and run its course of the listing agreement organically, or they're actually terminating the listing agreement with the listing agent. They're doing this out of frustration. And that's, if you've been on the market for 3, 4, 5 months, or maybe even longer, I know it can be extremely frustrating. Don't give up. If you want to take a break for a couple of weeks, that's fine, but get that house on the market because it's going to be a good time to list. In most parts of the country, you have your parade of homes going on in the fall, and that can trigger buyer activity. I was on a call this morning, and my foreclosure expert that we talked to says that 1 out of every 2,100 homes in the state of North Carolina is in some stage of foreclosure. Now, that doesn't always mean that they're getting ready to actually have the foreclosure sale done. It can take 6 to 8 months and even longer in some states in order to get that foreclosure processed. Most mortgage lenders are going to wait until you're at least 90 to 120 days behind before they issue the foreclosure notice. Now, at the same time, please understand if your house is being foreclosed upon, or if you've received one of those letters saying that it's going to be foreclosed upon, let your listing agent know, because that will determine how we work on that property and how aggressively we price, but it will also give you a reprieve with the mortgage company if they know you're trying to sell it. So talk to your local real estate agent and make sure they understand foreclosures to help you out in that process. Okay, I got something I want to talk about. These advertisements that say this home is off market. Well, if you're advertising it, it's not off market. Hello? Let's think about this. I know a lot of wholesalers and flippers do this. They're advertising that they've got an offer that's on the property. It's been accepted, so it's a contract, but it's an assignable contract. In most states, that doesn't give you permission to market that property. You have permission to market the contract, not the house. It's the contract that you have for sale. In order to market a home in most states, you must sign a listing agreement with the owner of the property in order to list it. And if you're a wholesaler that only has a contract on it that you're trying to sell, that's not actually selling the house, you're selling the contract. So all of these ads that you see, off-market listings in all of the flipper pages and the wholesaler pages, it's not off-market because you're marketing it. Make sure that you're marketing the contract on the property and not the home itself. That's a significant difference, and it could get you in trouble with state law in many states these days, as there are a lot of states that are passing new laws that limit the power of home sellers when they are wholesalers or flippers. So make sure you know the rules in the state where you're working.